धीमहि यो यो नमः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नमः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। रघुपति राघव राजा राम अभयम अलकुम सीताराम 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 उल्लम कवरनाय सीताराम 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 उल्लम कवरंदा सीताराम 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 उल्लम कवरनाय सीताराम 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 उल्लम कवरंदा सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम अभयम अलकुम 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 सीताराम राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम मन दिलम राम कन विलम 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 राम येंगम निरेंदा नीरा श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम जलतिलुम राम नीलतिलुम राम जलतिलुम राम नीलतिलुम राम जलतिलुम राम नीलतिलुम राम जलतिलुम राम नीलतिलुम राम उलगतिल व्यापिकुम नीरा राम राम राम
सुत हनुमान की जय। श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय। श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय।
रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा।
रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा।
रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा।
रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा।
रामचंद्र रघुनाथा रामचंद्र जगन्नाथा।
रामचंद्र रघुनाथा रामचंद्र जगन्नाथा।
रामचंद्र रघुनाथा रामचंद्र जगन्नाथा।
रामचंद्र रघुनाथा रामचंद्र जगन्नाथा।
रामचंद्र रघुरामा रामचंद्र परम धामा।
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 रामचंद्र मम बंधु रामचंद्र दया सिंधु।
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 रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा।
रामचंद्र रघुवीरा रामचंद्र रणधीरा।
रामचंद्र रघुनाथा रामचंद्र जगन्नाथा।
रामचंद्र रघुनाथा रामचंद्र जगन्नाथा।
रामचंद्र रघुरामा रामचंद्र परम धामा।
Raghunatha Jagannatha
रघुरामा परमधामा
Raghurama Paramdhama
रघुरामा परमधामा
Raghurama Paramdhama
मम बन्धु दय सिन्धु
Mama Bandhu Daya Sindhu
मम बन्धु दय सिन्धु
Mama Bandhu Daya Sindhu
रघुवीरा रणधीरा
Raghuvira Ranadhira
रघुनाथा जगन्नाथा
Raghunatha Jagannatha
रघुरामा परमधामा
Raghurama Paramdhama
मम बन्धु दय सिन्धु
Mama Bandhu Daya Sindhu
मम बन्धु दय सिन्धु
Om Shri Ram Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai Pavanasutta Hanuman ki Jai Shri Ambe Ambe Mat ki Jai Shri Syavar Ramacandra ki Jai
Om Aim Sarvadeva Devi Swarupaya Shri Ramakrishnaya Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya, respected Pravrajika Ishtaprana Mataji and loving devotees of Shri Ram. In celebration of the blessed festival of Shri Ram Naumi, today's discourse focuses on the relevance of the Ramayana to humanity. The Ramayana is acclaimed as the first spurt of poetry, sprung out of excessive emotion by sage Valmiki. It is regarded as a literary masterpiece that serves as a source of eternal inspiration, salutary ideas, and moral behavior for mankind. Through this captivating story, the entire Vedic wisdom is echoed as a divine melody in 24,000 verses. Being a universal and perennial source of knowledge, the Ramayana continues to be relevant and now more so considered as an antidote to quell human suffering. At an international Ramayana conference in North America, themed Ramayana in a global context, it was concluded that the teachings imbibed in the epic were more relevant in the present age of globalization, breaking family systems, and diminishing human values. This conference emphasized the profound contributions of the Ramayana on culture, art, and society, and more specifically, in promoting good human values. Eminent scholars conceded that through the various historical periods, this epic has remained popular as it presents ideals of human behavior in every walk of life. The Burma Historical Commission acknowledges that the Ramayana is a source of ennobling influence of the relationship of people as parents and children, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, teachers and pupils, and rulers and the ruled. It houses a treasure chest of character types where all characters represent various dimensions of our psyche. Herein we draw immense encouragement from the life of Sri Ram, whose qualities were espoused by sage Narad Muni to sage Valmiki, ultimately inspiring the composition of the Ramayana. A narration depicting this significant discussion now follows. Once Narad Muni visited sage Valmiki's ashram, and the two rishis sat in conversation with each other. Something had been worrying Valmiki for a long time, and he turned to Narada for help. He asked Narada, "O great Muni, you have studied the Vedas and are all-knowing. Can you tell me if there is any man in this world who is virtuous, pious, ever truthful, and tenacious? Is there anyone who wishes well on all living creatures, and who is also a hero and a scholar. He should be free from jealousy and hold invincible valor. Please let me know if such a man exists." Narada beamed with a smile and replied, "Oh yes, you want to find out if there is a flawless, perfect human being. It is difficult to come across such a person, but there is such a man who does exist and possess all the virtues you have enumerated. He is Rama, the king of Ayodhya." Narada then describes the virtuous qualities of the Lord to sage Valmiki. From the description of Sri Ram's attributes, we learn that he was a paragon of virtues, magnanimous in character, and a personification of Dharma itself. These good attributes of Sri Ram and the high ideals of life, as portrayed in the Ramayana, have a tremendous influence over our lives as they help us build worthy characters steeped in the ideals of Dharma or righteousness. Of late, we have witnessed members of communities and society at large shine the torch of righteous living in assisting people affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Nations united to provide various forms of aid, more especially in creating vaccines and finding effective treatment options, with the goal to transition the virus from a pandemic to a less disruptive endemic. Institutions such as the Ramakrishna Sharda Mats and mission centers, both locally and internationally, have expanded their existing charitable programs by including assistance to families affected by the pandemic. The dharmic teachings of the Ramayana are evident in these important activities rendered by our ashrams. Of all living beings, human life is the most difficult to attain. The good experienced in one's present life is a result of meritorious deeds performed in one's past lives. Swami Vivekananda taught that we are responsible for the samskaras or impressions formed on our mind. If people continuously expose themselves to bad thoughts, words, and actions, their mind will naturally be flooded with bad impressions. These negative impressions become the cause of failure and the degeneration of a person towards demonic tendencies. However, Swamiji affirms that if the mind is concentrated and exposed to positive, holy thoughts and experiences, it will be filled with positive samskaras that are necessary for liberation. Sri Hanuman is a beaming example of having a pure mind, ever concentrated on the name and form of Sri Ram. In retrospect, Swami Vivekananda said, "You have to make the character of Hanumanji your ideal. He was a perfect master of his senses and wonderfully wise." The Ramayana exemplifies the attributes of dignity, decency, and decorum as the basic virtues essential for human beings. It stresses the need for us to annihilate evil tendencies such as lust, anger, and greed. These vices are great impediments to spirituality and to cultivating good samskaras. In the Ramayana, Ravana possessed many vices where his mind was influenced by ego gratification. Although knowledgeable, he was predisposed to many desires, wherein his egocentric mind led to his destruction. Ravana's abduction of Mother Sita was his self-delusional tactic of instilling fear into a helpless woman, and a cowardice attempt of exerting power over Sri Ram. It's commonly said that you cannot depend on your eyes when your imagination is out of focus. Ravana focused on owning Mother Sita at the expense of trying to destroy Sri Ram. He waged a war against righteousness only to have himself destroyed. In recent times, we have been alerted to violent attacks directed at certain international communities. These have been ignited in the forms of nuclear and terrorist wars openly declared by world leaders against innocent civilians. More specifically, the attacks between Palestine and Israel, terrorist possession of Afghanistan by the Taliban, and war waged against the Ukraine by Russia emerge as prime examples of power-hungry leaders consumed by anger, hatred, greed, and violence. In composing the Ramayana, sage Valmiki merged religion with morality and statesmanship with good judgment. The epic crystallizes honor, respect, and rejection of power through the relationship between Sri Ram and his devoted brother Bharat. If Ram stands for truth, Bharat stands for justice. The dialogue between Sri Ram and Bharat in Chitrakoot is considered a monumental discourse on human values, in which both brothers reject their legitimate power to rule Ayodhya. Their ultimate solution to the problem was placing the Lord's sandals on the throne through the duration of his exile. Bharat was not tainted by greed, and he ensured that the kingdom would ultimately be ruled by Sri Ram. Through the humility, dignity, and magnanimity displayed by the brothers towards each other, they ensured that they showed brotherly love, non-attachment to materialism, and relinquishing of power as espoused by the Ramayana. World leaders need to draw from such lessons to avert exploitation and tyranny of the masses, which are eroding human and cultural values. Erudite scholars have emphasized that the socio-political messages incorporated in the text are more relevant than ever, especially as exhibited in the speech by Sri Ram after he returned from 14 years of exile and accepted the throne of Ayodhya. It is noted that such a speech would inspire political leaders to bring peace and prosperity in the world over. The Ramayana has a universal appeal in affording everlasting solutions to the problems that confront us at every stage of life. One of the central truths of Hinduism that the epic reveals is the importance of a guru in one's life. Sage Vasishtha was the spiritual guru to King Dasratha and the royal family. He was revered by all and consulted by the king for advice and guidance on many issues pertaining to the royal household. The princess stayed at the hermitage of Sage Vasishtha for many years, where he educated, trained, and groomed them into men of valor. The role of the sage enforces the message that the holy company and blessings of a guru is paramount to us leading spiritually illumined lives. From the life of Mother Sarada, we learn of her sacred role as a guru to numerous devotees who sought refuge at her holy feet. As a magnet's attraction is irresistible to iron, so was the attraction of Holy Mother as a guru. Mother Sarada's encouraging message to her disciples being that the relationship between the guru and the disciple is eternal, and one becomes pure by repeating the name of God given by the guru. As Sri Ramakrishna revealed the motherhood of God in Sri Sarada Devi, so too the Ramayana exemplifies the role of Mother Sita as an epitome of forbearance and sacrifice. She is endowed with humility, integrity, and dignity, and triumphs as a faithful wife and caring mother. We witness her determination to live righteously while silently facing innumerable adversities with immense faith and courage. Herein, the Ramayana portrays the pristine qualities of Mother Sita as an inspiration for women in modern society. The Ramayana is an epic of humanity, pulsating with virtuous teachings. As we meditate on the glory of Sri Ram, we pray, O Lord of the Raghus, full of compassion, you crush false pride and are perfect in every way. O ornament of Ayodhya, your name wipes out the impurities of this sinful age. Protect your humble devotees. Jai Shri Ram.
Nanyaspriha Raghupati Hridaye Asmadiye यं वदामि च भवान् अखिलान्तरात्मा भक्तिं प्रयच्छ रघुपुङ्गव निर्धरामे कामादिदोषरहितं कुरु मानसं च।
ॐ श्री सीता लक्ष्मण भरत शत्रुघ्न हनुमत् समेत श्री रामचंद्र परब्रह्मणे नमः। सुनि बिरांचि मन हर्ष तना पुलकी नयन baha nīra astuti karata jori kara sāvadhāna matidhīra श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। जय सुरनायक जन सुखदायक प्रणत पाल भगवंता गोद्विजहितकारी जय असुरारी सिंधु सुता प्रिय कांता पालन सुर धरणी अद्भुत करणी मरम न जानई कोई जो सहज कृपाला दीन दयाला करो अनुग्रह सोई। जय जय अविनाशी सबघत वासी व्यापक परमानंदा अभिगत मोतीतं चरित पुनीतं माया रहित मुकुंदा जेहि लागी विरागी अति अनुरागी विगत मोह मुनि वृंदा निशिभासर ध्यावहि गुण गण गावहि जयति सच्चिदानंदा जेहि सृष्टि उपाई त्रिविध बनाई संग सहाय न दूजा सो करऊ अघारी चिंत हमारी जानय भगति न पूजा जो भव भय भंजन मुनि मनरंजन गंजन विपति बरूथा मन वचन मानी छाड़ी सयानी शरण सकल सुर जूता सारद श्रुति शेषा ऋषय अशेषा जा कहूँ को नहीं जाना जेहि दीन पुकारे वेद पुकारे द्रवो सो श्री भगवाना भव वारिधि मंदर सब विधि सुंदर गुण मंदिर सुख पूजा मुनि सिद्ध सकल सुर परम भयातुर नमत नाथ पद कंजा जाने समय सुर भूमि सुनी भजन समेत स्नेह गगन गिरा गंभीर भई हरनि शोक संदेह श्री
Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Jani dar pahu muni siddh suresa तुम महिला की धरी हो नर बेसा अंसन सहित मनुज अवतारा ले बहु दिन कर वंश उदारा श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम कश्यप अदिति महातप कीन्हा तिन्ह कहूँ मैं पूरब बर दीन्हा ते दशरथ कौसल्या रूपा कौसलपुरी प्रगत नर भूपा श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम तिन्हके गृह अवतर हो जाई रघुकुल तिलक सोचारी ओ भाई नारद वचन सत्य सब करी हो परम शक्ति समेत अवतरी हो श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम हरि हो सकल भूमि गरु आई निर्भय हो देव समुदायी गगन ब्रह्मवाणी सुनि काना तुरत फिरे सुर हृदय जुड़ाना श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम तब ब्रह्मा धरनी समुझावा अभय भई भयो सजय आवा श्री राम जय राम 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 श्री राम जय राम
निज लोक ही बिरंचिए देव
हरि हरि सिखाई बानर तनु धरि धरि मही हरि पद सेवहु जाई श्री श्यावर रामचंद्र की जय।
ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संगत भक्त जनों के संगत क्षण में दूर करे ओम जय जगदीश हरे जो ध्यावे फल पावे दुख विनशे मन का स्वामी दुख विनशे मन का सुख संपत्ति घर आवे सुख संपत्ति घर आवे कष्ट मिटे तन का ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण गहूँ के सती स्वामी
शरण गहूँ किसकी, तुम बिना और न दूजा, तुम बिना और न दूजा, आस करो जिसकी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, तुम पूर्ण परमात्मा, तुम अनंतरयामी, स्वामी तुम अनंतरयामी, पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर, पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर, तुम सबके स्वामी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, तुम करुणा के सागर, तुम पालन करता, स्वामी तुम पालन करता। मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी, मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी, कृपा करो भरता। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, तुम हो एक अगोचर, सबके प्राणपति, स्वामी सबके प्राणपति। किस विधि मिलो दया में, किस विधि मिलो दया में, तुमको मैं कुमति। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, दीन बंधु दुख हरता, तुम रक्षक मेरे, स्वामी तुम रक्षक मेरे। करुणा हस्त बढ़ाओ, करुणा हस्त बढ़ाओ, शरण पड़ा तेरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, विषय विकार मिटाओ, पाप हरो देवा, स्वामी पाप हरो देवा। श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ, श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ, संतन की सेवा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे। भक्त जनों के संकट, भक्त जनों के संकट, क्षण में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णु, मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज, मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्ष, मङ्गलाय तनोहरि, सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये
शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते नारायणी नमोस्तुते। ॐ श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय। श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय।
Om Namo Narayanaya, dear sisters and brothers. During this auspicious occasion, when we are celebrating the birth of Sri Ram, we can spend more time to reflect on the divine within. The Ramayana indicates that whenever religion declines and adharma prevails, God comes to earth in human form for the benefit of all. The meaning of some of the verses that we have chanted is: the gods and earth were terror-stricken by the atrocities of King Ravan. Hearing their loving entreaties, a solemn voice dispelled their doubt and anxiety. It said, "Fear not, O sages, for your sake I will be born as man with every element of my divinity incarnate. I shall incarnate as 4 brothers in the royal palace of King Dasharath and Queen Kaushalya. I shall relieve the earth of all its burden. Fear not." Let us feel the loving presence of God in our hearts and pray to Him to shower His grace upon all of us. It is a great consolation to know that God is aware of what is happening on earth and always comes to save His children. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम तत्सत्। जय श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। महामाय की जय। स्वामी जी महाराज की जय। गंगा मात की जय। महावीर स्वामी जी की जय। सर्व ऋषि मुनियों की जय। पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव की जय। श्री सियावर